Well, welcome to the podcast. As you know, we normally go around the world. This time we've gone to multiple countries, but it's for a very, very special reason. Six lovely ladies over 12 months ago released a book called Lady X. It's all about helping ladies find love and the tools, the tips, the mistakes, and their personal journeys, a little bit of fiction, a little bit of non-fiction, but it comes from a beautiful place. It comes from a place of love. It comes from a place of helping everyone. And for some silly reason, I agreed to have four of the six ladies on my podcast. This is going to be a hoot. I have no control. They're all what we call in men's land alphas. They're all leaders in their field. They're all very strong ladies. They all know what they've achieved. And now they teach people all over the world. So I'm going to go very, very quickly around. Merav, tell everyone where you're from and what you do.
Hi, I'm Israeli, living now in South Italy. I do many things, but one of them is I'm an author, and this was my last book, published a year ago. I'm also a power coach. I help people connect to their power and use them to live an unstoppable life. And really happy to be here, Rob. Thank you so much for hosting us.
Awesome. And Heidi, where are you sitting today?
I am sitting in Monaco today, where I've been living for the last 18 years, and I mainly work as editor, proofreading, and communication consultant.
Fantastic. And we've got a lady on the street in the middle of somewhere, Martina. There's a beautiful church, I think, behind you. Where are you?
This beautiful church is in Prague, the heart of Europe. Hello, everyone. Saying hi. I'm an energy coach, and I'm really, really honored to be here tonight. Thank you, Robert.
And last but not least, we have a lady, we would say she's coming direct from her boudoir. She's even made the bed. Faith, where you are you?
I'm at a hotel right now.
Oh, okay.
So I'm in the US. I'm in Colorado right now, and I'm an international psychic medium, energy healer, teacher, and author. And I
Awesome.
forgot what I was going to say.
That's okay. No worries at all. She was a lady who doesn't know what she's going to say. That's going to have to be a first on this show. So I'm going to say straight up, whose idea was the book?
Merav, we all got in together with it. We were friends from different contacts, and we decided to get together and write a book about love. And we had no idea how we're going to call it, what it's going to be about, who is it going to be about. That's why we actually started to call it Lady X, because when we were talking about it and writing our drafts to each other and our ideas to each other, because we didn't have a name and we didn't have a clear idea, we just called it Lady X, that we don't know who she is.
Yes.
And then it became Lady X, and it took over us. And we always said during writing the book that Lady X decides her journey. She decides who will write her. She decides everything, and it was just like that. Our connection and the way that we wrote the book was divine. It was like someone is writing it for us, and also our connection between us as a group was the same. It was just really strong chemistry. We knew we had to bring this to the world.
That's awesome. Now, Martina, when Say approached you to write the book, what were your initial thoughts?
Wow, my initial thoughts were, I'm in it, because going into a project with Merav, with Faith, with Heidi, I've already known them, from our last project. I was 100% in, and when Merav explained us, that it's gonna be about love, and that she wanted me to speak about motherhood and about, things that I live in my life. I was excited. I was like, yes, this is exactly what I was waiting for. So I was in it from the very first moment. Yes.
So Faith, they came to you. Obviously they waited, made sure you had a couple of wines before they said, hi, we're going to do this book. What were your thoughts, and what did you tell your family when you said, hi, I'm writing a book again?
I loved it because it's about a fictional character and different healing steps that she's going to learn on her journey. So I loved it when Merav told me about it. My family, they support me with everything. I mean, what I do is so different. So whenever I said I'm going to do this, they just supported me with it.
Okay, now Heidi, what did you do? Did you take a deep breath and go, oh my gosh, what am I got myself in for?
No, I was very excited to work with the same people again. Just the format of the book is very unique. So I was a little bit worried on how to actually bring it all together, because it's really hard to have a consistency throughout the book. So, but I love a good challenge. So I was in from the beginning.
Now, I'm going to ask a question, and people listening won't get to see the reaction, but I'm going to watch everyone's face. How much of the book is fiction and how much is non-fiction?
Ooh.
I'm just looking at all the four faces here and getting four different reactions. Go on, someone answer that one.
Yeah, it's 80%. We because when you write from your heart, and you know it, Rob, it's real, it's raw. Even if you change the names and some of the circumstances, you are pouring your heart there, and you are bearing things that sometimes even you don't know about yourself. This is how you write good. This is how you write authentically, and we all did that. And the women here are extraordinary women, and when they wrote, they poured their heart and their experience and their souls and their fantasy and everything in there. So it's all real in that sense.
Wow.
And we did decorate it a bit, and we changed a bit things, and we made it more metaphorical and so on, because we wanted to make it more approachable to the reader. But for example, my chapters specifically were 99% very close to reality. I have done the military in Israel. I have been through abusive relationships. I have gone through these horrible moments that I described in the first chapter, the breakdown, the breakthrough. We spoke about this in the last interview. So for me, it was, really burying my soul out there and hoping that, that people from the other side will feel it, and they do. I know for the other women that, writing is a voyage, and it's not always easy. This is why we have writing blocks, because we don't know if we can say everything, if we can bear everything, if we can be there truly. Even when you write something that is more theoretical or manual, you are still giving everything you have there. So I would say 80% at least.
Wow, it's amazing when you hear and you speak to some authors. They say, especially with, I don't like the term self-help book, but that's what they put it when you put them on Amazon and all that. A book like yours, sometimes it's better to peel the Band-Aid off, as we say in Australia, and just say it as it is, because it's reality, it's true life.
Yeah.
It's what happens. People hide around the world saying they never get their heart broken, they never go out on a bad date or have a bad relationship, or they never muck up themselves and make a mistake. Faith, what did you do? Sorry?
Lady X is bearing it all, and there are chapters there that they speak about. There's a chapter that speaks about abuse that really happened. I speak about abuse that really happened. These are real stories from real women. We give tools that we all apply in our lives. I have learned so much from every author that has co-written with me, and I've applied everything. I apply Martina's soul clearing every single night with my children. She speaks about how to create a future with your children and how to clear that energy. I do Faith's energy clearing every single day, morning, minute of the day with me and my children. I do Beverly's forgiveness and rituals and everything, meditations. I apply everything that is written in this book, and it has changed my life completely. Because it's real, it's not just something that you read, that someone wrote because they read it somewhere that it should be written to become a bestseller. We didn't even know that it would become a bestseller. We hoped it will, and it did, but we wrote it from a pure intention to create a change in the world, to empower people, to make them feel that whatever they're going through, they can go through, and they have the tools to go through that.
So Lady X is a very provocative title. Who came up with that? No one knows.
I liked
It's-
it being Lady X because I think we all liked it and we all agreed with it. But I liked it being Lady X because I think that it just represented many women, because there's so many things that Lady X goes through from the beginning to the end of her journey that a lot of women can relate to. And so I thought Lady X was nice instead of giving her an actual name like that. So it was more relatable, is what I felt.
Fantastic. Look, there's so many titles out there that people, as you know, make their mind up when they look at a cover or they look at the title of what the book is, even without looking at the back and seeing what it really is about. So I think that's fantastic. Martina, what was your story? Well, as in, what did you want to give when you wrote your part of the book?
Well, I wrote chapter 3 and chapter 4, and my main message was about bonding, about relationships, about how to bond with your children, with your relatives, with your closest ones in your life. And the chapter 3 talked about rituals, how important are rituals in our life, and especially how to use them to strengthen our bonds, our lifelong bonds.
Wow. So Heidi, what angle did you take when you were writing your chapters?
Well, I wasn't initially supposed to write any chapters. You know, my job was to bring it all together and to make sure it flows and to help them work out their ideas, etc. But then at some point, they suggested I should write a chapter. And my brief was to write about the crash of Lady X, because obviously everybody in their journey, you crash at some point. So I had to crash her, and then I also drafted the final chapter, making sure that everybody could contribute to the final chapter. So the final chapter is written by all of them together.
So were they all very good authors and got all their chapters in on time, or were some of them you had to chase around the world?
No, they're all amazing.
They were good.
They're very good with their deadlines. They're really, really, they're very efficient ladies, all of them. Very serious.
Faith, when you were given your brief to write your book and write your chapters, what was the hardest part about doing it?
I mean, I didn't really have that hard of a time when I did my chapter for the Lady X, I think. Because I think I did it like in one day, and then I went back when we made changes, and then I kind of changed, you know, some little things there.
Yeah.
I had a lot of other stuff that was going on at that time, so it was just finding the time.
Yeah. Do you find professional ladies are very good at finding the time to do stuff, or do you think they try and concentrate maybe on work to rather hide about attending to the other stuff at home and away? Come on.
Yeah, he asked those questions last time. I choked on his questions also.
I'm trying to get an answer out of Faith, everyone. And she's just looking at me as if she's going to kill me from America.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I mean, typically I would have been able to balance the stuff better, but I just had like other things that was more,
Yeah, life gets busy. There's nothing wrong with that. Martina, how about you? Was there one thing that we call a speed hump when you were writing the book, or were you focused and on time and full of love?
It was difficult to focus because it wasn't a one-time thing. You know, the story evolved. It has taken more than 6 months actually. I had rewritten the story several times. So, and together with my own kids and my other project and so on, it wasn't easy to focus on one thing. But, you know, Miraf is a great leader, and I would love to thank her for that, because she always makes me sit down, drink some wine, and write the piece. So as soon as she says, this is the time, Martina, sit down and do it, I just do it. So thank you, Miraf.
Well, I have been told that no matter what time of the day or night or morning in south of Italy, Mirav always has a bottle of wine next to the laptop.
That is very true. This is our Lady X wine. It's the mystic wine, the only one in the world. I would send it to you, but you're too far away. And it's our wine. Yeah.
Now, Heidi, as the captain of the team when it came to the publishing side of it, was there anyone that, did you have to edit, or did you have to get anyone to make their chapters smaller, or the other way?
No, we started out with a bigger team, and some people just kind of got lost on the
Yeah,
way.
we had some political drama here, Rob.
Which for the story was fine. I like to make sure that people keep their own voice in their writing, so I'm quite good at that. I just tweak here and there. I may change some wording, etc. I don't think I cut too much, but they all stick very much to their brief. So if they have a brief of, okay, you're going to give me 3,000 words, they're very good at that. They're very good at sticking to to what's been asked. And yeah, there's some back and forth, but all in all, it was a great experience. Actually, it was much easier and than I expected.
So Mirav, it's now 12 months on, probably 18 months since you actually wrote the book, 12 months since it released and all that.
Yeah,
in the last 12 months, is there anything in the book with your advice or your stories that you may have changed, or things have moved in a much better way?
Yes, loads. You know, I came into the book just like Lady X. I was all wounded, and when I wrote my chapters and when I connected with the ladies, I was in a completely different space than where I'm now. And these ladies and the story, so I said before, there was a bit of a political crisis here. So, you know, let me give you a dirty behind the scenes info. So we were 10 and 5 left. And they left because they gathered together and they felt that they didn't want to be in this project anymore. And it was very painful for us as a team and as and for me as someone who was trying to organize the book and the authors together and so on. It was it felt like it felt like betrayal. Yeah. So when that happened, I was thinking of not writing the book anymore. And I asked all these beautiful ladies and I said, what do you want to do? Because if we write the book now, we have to reset everything. We have to take away some chapters. We have to rewrite other chapters. We have to change the whole scenario. But on the other hand, it will be just us. It will be just our energies. It will be just, you know, who we really want to be. There won't be any, you know, discussions on every little detail. It will be pure you. And they all decided to go with the flow and to write the book anyway. And that encouraged me, and we did that. And through the journey, we did it through the lockdown. All of us were in the lockdown. So that was challenging because we had to find a time to do it, time that is isolated from everything else that we had to do in the house as women, as wives, mothers. And we spoke to each other when we had a weekly meeting between all of us, and then we had a one-on-one meeting when we passed the story of Lady X from one author to another in order to make the story as synchronized as possible. And for me, that was extremely therapeutic because when I passed the story to Martina, for example, I learned more about soul clearing, and I applied it in my life with my children. And although I'm a single mom and I have 2 little girls, and the bond between us is amazing, after I applied that soul clearing, the bond between us became even stronger. And I was talking about it to everyone here in Italy, and people were asking me how to do that, and I was teaching them. Then I applied what Faith wrote in the book, I applied what Beverly wrote in the book, I applied what Heidi wrote, I applied what Sarah wrote. And my life has transformed completely in the last year. Lockdowns, not lockdowns, you know, whatever has happened, I have upgraded my life in every single way because this book has so many tools that it's enough to do the simple things and concentrate on simple things and apply it into your life. and it changes it completely. It brings you into a higher perspective of what you're doing and why you're doing it. Lady X is superficially looking for love, but what she's really looking is for connection with herself and finding ways to love herself again after she's been so damaged, she's been so broken, she has hurt herself so much, she has sabotaged herself so much, she has been in the lowest lows, which I have been through, which some people who have read the book have been through. And when you know that you have those tools to go through that and to grow through that, and it brings you a sense of confidence that no matter what, you will not get there again, and you know how to get through it. And this is what this lady is brought into that book. I think that in some ways I came into that book broken. I don't believe that anyone is really broken, but in some ways, you know, I didn't know how to do better. And bringing that information in order to bring it to other people, I brought it into my life, and I have transformed my life completely. So this book has changed so many lives already, mine in particular. And we are sitting here a year after, looking backwards and saying, oh my God, you know, this year has been tremendous. It has had so many challenges. We're on different continents, different places in the world, and we all had our challenges. We all had things that we had to go through. And not only the book has changed us and given us tools, but also our connection between us as people, as authors, as women, has brought us through. So it's a game changer. It's a life changer for me.
Fantastic. So Faith, 12 months on since releasing the book, 18 months on since you wrote your chapters, what's changed for you? And has there been anything that one of the other authors wrote that you've actually taken up and put into your life?
I've had a lot going on the last year. I've been helping to care for my parents.
Yep.
And that's been a lot as a caregiver. So there's a lot of the different stuff that a lot of the ladies do are things that I would know or do too before, but I've definitely used clearing the energy meditations like Beverly does. Yeah, there's just so much stuff that I've had to use throughout the years to be able to keep my energy clear and to stay in a good space. There's a lot of really good stuff. You know, all of us are coaches and all of us do different stuff. And in each of our chapters, we all talk about new healing tools that you could really implement in your lives. So I really have used a lot of stuff, and I don't have little ones. My youngest is 20. So with Martina's steps, when I was home, because I actually live in Delaware, so right now I'm in Colorado where my parents are at. Then I would use the stuff when I spend time with my granddaughter. So I love this stuff. Yeah. So I think it's awesome that everything that everybody's put in their chapters, and it was really nice meeting everybody because I knew Merav and the other ladies I kind of mainly met, and I worked with Heidi before in Stay Home. So I kind of really met them whenever we are doing more intimately when meeting in our meetings and stuff with Lady X. So it was really nice learning from them the different ways that they do different things and bringing into the book.
Fantastic. Now, Martina, I'm very aware that you are on the street, so, and I don't mean by that living, but you're walking around. I'm going to ask you a quick question in case it does drop out. You were just looking after ladies and coaching ladies and helping ladies, and now you're pivoted to your first time is you're now doing a course with 6 men.
Yes.
Have you taken some of the stuff from this book and moved it across to help change us poor men who have no idea about ladies, to empower them to be better people?
Sorry, I couldn't hear the last word. Sorry. If I could take anything from this book and apply
to help us poor men that you're teaching over there in Prague with their life.
Okay, definitely. I would use Mirav's chapter, The Power of Warrior. I would use breathing techniques from Beverly. I would use energy, unblocking the energy blocks, from from Faith, and I would definitely recommend the Soul Clearing for all of the guys as well. Although working with men, I just have to say, dear man, you are fantastic. We love you, but you are just not ready for so much for our tools. You're not ready for everything that I think that most of my clients up there in that restaurant over there
Yes.
are not ready to read our book. I'm sorry. I
Wow.
hope they're not listening. But
Maybe that's exactly what they should do.
Right.
maybe. Yes. Well, I think that would be the first time they hear about energy blocks and the first time they hear about soul clearing and so on. So these guys are fantastic because they're open for change. They're open to get some new info. But Lady X is quite an informative, and it's really difficult book. It's a heavy topic. There are a lot of tools, a lot of techniques, from experienced coaches, and especially the later chapters, like the chapters 5 to 12, are quite difficult to understand. So even I read the book like 3 times to understand well and to take most of it to my life.
Wow. So Heidi, you look like the lady who is the organized one, the one that cracks the whip and keeps everyone, you say,
No,
on
the
schedule.
whip belongs to Mirav. Let's make
Oh,
that clear.
Excuse me, that's
I
I've been
just
told
like
that's
it, but
a
it belongs
different
to
book
you.
that she's writing.
No, I think that I'm quite different from the other ladies because I am not a health coach as such. I'm not an energy coach, not a power coach or anything like that. So I'm probably a little bit more skeptical from the outset. And there are certain things that I can't do. I can't meditate, for example. I've tried it, but it's just not really my thing. But I have done the soul clearing, which I think is amazing. I think, finding your inner warrior, which is Mirav's speciality, I think it's really good for men and women, I think.
Yep.
I'm a great fan of writing. So I'm a great fan of journaling and writing to deal with things that go on in people's lives. I think writing is a very powerful tool, actually.
So what would you call yourself as in your main profession then, Heidi?
I think I'm more of I've mainly worked as proofreader and editor. I'm hoping to write my own book about adoption because I have an adopted son. And I think there's actually very little literature about the process of adoption, the emotional process of going through till you get to the point where you actually become a mom. It's quite a long journey for some people. But I currently work as also as an office manager. I am very organized, actually. You were right on that point. I'm a very organized person. So
we've of course we're now down to the 3 of you because it's just dropped out over there in Prague, which is nothing to be, walking around the street holding an iPhone talking and no one around you, But what I'm going to ask you then, Heidi, is with Mirav and Faith, they're both very different people and they've written their chapters from a very different angle. I'm going to look at you now as a business leader. You are a coach. You just don't know it, because anyone who is running an office, and what you were just talking about when it comes to helping people around adoption, you're coaching people through it. So you're selling yourself a little bit short there. But what I am going to ask you is, out of the book, for a business leader, it's like you and a person who runs a office, what could they take from that book?
I think that important things to run a business is definitely energy, to have good energy, to emit good energy and to get good energy out of the people you work with. It's very important. And I also think that journaling in the morning, or I I don't really write affirmations, but I
Mhm.
do think that if you wake up and you write down what you want out of your day, you condition your brain to look for those specific things,
Yes.
and you will attract the things that you really are hoping to achieve. And I think meditation, I'm not able to meditate for hours like some people, but if I do have an important meeting, or if I do have an issue to deal with, I might just go for some breathing beforehand, just to reset my brain, which I think is a very useful tool for anybody working in a high stress level environment.
Yeah, I do coaching myself, and I train people when if they're going into, as you just said, a high-powered meeting or something, is to turn their phone off and take 10 minutes, which is a form of meditation, and just chill, breathe, calm, get your thoughts. And it's amazing how sometimes they come back to you and say, Rob, you told me to do that. And I said, yeah, but I'm now chilling for 30 minutes before, not 10. I said, we obviously needed it. Meditation, I'm going to ask all you three ladies. Meditation 10 years ago, people looked at you funny if you mentioned it. They said, what's that? They thought it was something strange for people who lived alternative lifestyles. Now, the biggest leaders and the biggest thought leaders, let alone coaches and that in the world, men and women, all do it. Why do you think it's become so important in today's age to meditate? And why do you think people should do it?
I think that it's became so important because people have seen results with it. So the more that somebody comes out and they talk about their experience, and this is something that works for them, the more that other people are going to want to do what is working for this person, they're going to want to do it for themselves. And I think that it's something that's really important for people to do because it helps to ground, to center you, to clear your mind, reduce stress, promote healing. It's something I recommend, with everybody that I work with. It's huge. It helps to promote a lot of different positive changes in your life. When you have a clear mind, it helps to promote healing, and it helps you to focus and to enjoy different things in life. And so I think I highly recommend for people to meditate.
I can't, sorry, it just dropped out there.
Sorry, yeah, no, I think from a business perspective, I think more and more businesses are realizing that self-care is very important, and you will increase productivity if your staff is just in a better place. And that's why many companies today are really introducing more and more tools for their staff for self-care.
Yeah.
Because it's better to be very efficient and very productive in 5 hours of the day than work like some crazy person for 8 hours, but don't have the same output. So I think people are realizing more and more how important self-care is.
How true. And what about you, Merav? Do you go and meditate before hitting the gym and bashing somebody who's one of your clients, or?
I do try to meditate as much as possible. It's not always possible, to be honest, and I need to find more time to do that. I do a lot of active meditation, which is listening to meditations and different guidance while I'm working out, while I'm running around doing things, because my life is extremely active, and I have noticed a huge difference. It's it's just empty time that you can fill in with all kinds of things that actually nurture your brain and helps you to achieve what you want to achieve. So for me, that has been a huge transformation. Years ago, I thought that meditation is just a hippie thing that doesn't really do anything, and then people just do it because they have nothing else to do. But when I actually understood what goes into it and how it can influence your life and how it can improve your life, and when I've tried it on myself, it has had huge effect.
Wow.
So yeah, I try to do it as much as possible.
Yeah. 15 years ago, even 10 years ago, and it's still in some places around the world, a lady in a relationship is supposed to be at home, looking after the kids, running the house. And yes, okay, they may have a job, they may not, but things have changed, thank goodness, because there's no difference between a man or a woman when it comes to work. I mean, I've had some amazing lady bosses, And so, I've been privileged to have them. If you look at that now and looking at your book, how important is it for a lady who's being successful, whichever way she chooses, to have love and have a relationship or relationships?
A relationship with someone else is not that important as much
Yeah.
as the relationship that the woman has with herself or any person has with himself. Because,
Yep.
I learned it on my own skin. If you are not able to love yourself, you're not able to love anyone else, and no one else will
True.
love you the way you love yourself, and so on. Sounds like a cliche, but when you totally absorb what goes into it, it's true. And I've been single for 6 years because I needed to go through a lot of shit after separated from my ex-husband, in order for me to be open again for relationships. So I don't think that relationships, as an isolated subject, as relationships are that important as much as your relationship with yourself. Once you're good with yourself and you're happy with yourself, and it's a constantly, it's an environment that you constantly grow and you constantly nourish. That is when you get everything that you need. You can also be alone and be happy with yourself. It doesn't mean necessarily that you have to be with someone else. Just the way that you feel about you.
And what about you, Faith? Would you agree with that?
I do agree with that. Having self-love is huge. It's a huge part of healing, of being yourself, thriving.
Yeah. And do you see, Heidi, that there's not enough ladies who are successful in business practicing self-love? They're more concentrated on, I've got to look after the business. I have to look after the family. They're looking after everyone else, but they're not looking after themselves.
I was very guilty of that for a very long time. I think coming out of lockdown, I really changed a lot of things in my life. And I do try to take time for self-care, and I started doing things I've always wanted to do, like sailing and lots of things that, I've been thinking about, but wasn't actually doing. But it is easy to escape in work.
Yes.
I'm a little bit of a workaholic, I have to admit. And it's quite, it's easy for me I love working. So it's easy to just escape into work and not really deal with other issues. But eventually it always catches up with you. So yeah, it's a fine line to find the balance between being successful and still looking after yourself.
So I'm going to ask you all one last question, but for a change, I'm actually going to let you know what I'm going to ask. So I see Faith having a big sigh of relief there going, that's good. But I'm going to throw her under the bus and she's going to be the first one.
Okay.
If someone came up to you, a young lady in her early 20s who's just starting out really in life and love and everything, and said, why should I buy the book? What's in the book for me? What would you say to them?
Well, I've actually had that happen. And so I've actually been sharing the book with different people lately that are young. Because whenever we go through life, so just because somebody's young and they're 20, they've probably had multiple experiences that they've had or they have seen of other people. So when they read this book, it's going to actually help them to read it at a young age. So they know all these tools as they're going through different things that's harder in life. So, and, just to say is like one of the girls was 22 that I gave the book to, and she said, I can't put this book down. There's so much good stuff. It's related to so much stuff in my life, and just really loved the steps. But really because, this way they have these tools that they could use as the woman would be moving forward to prevent a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And how about you, Heidi?
I would say that the book just contains this kind of power. When you read the book, it ignites your belief in yourself. It kind of makes you realize that there is always a way forward. It doesn't matter how bad things are. There's always a way out.
Yeah.
You just have to find it. And I think that Lady X gives you the tools to find it. And it's just it has a happy ending. So it's a nice story. It just,
Yeah.
life is not bad all the time. It's bad some of the times and it's good some of the times.
And Merav, which I call you the fuel of this book, you're the most honest and very, very open when it comes to what's happened in your life in the book and when your other interviews in your books. What would you say to a young lady on the streets of Italy who you're having a nice cappuccino with, and they said, "Why would I buy the book?"
When you asked that question, I was thinking of myself when I was 20.
Yeah.
And I would have killed to have this book when I was 20, because I have been, when I was 20, I was kicked out of my parents' house. I was in the streets. I had no clothes to my skin. I had no toothbrush. I had no money. I had nothing and no one. And if I read that book when I was 20, I would have known that there's hope. I would have known that someone else walked my road before me and survived. I would have known that you could make better choices. I probably would have avoided half of the stuff that I walked into afterwards. And that would have saved me a lot of pain. At that time, when I was 20, I really needed to trust someone. I couldn't trust anyone anymore. I was so hurt. I was so, beaten up. And having a book that tells you, hey, I've been in your steps also. And I went through and I went there and I did that. And all the methods that are in the methods in the book are not written to sell the book. They're written from all our hearts, things that really work for us and for hundreds of people around the world. And they do work. If I had had those tools when I was 20, I would have probably been right now in even a higher place in my life. And I would have spared myself from so much pain and trauma. Yeah. So if I have someone who's 20, it's one of my goals. My goals is, now I'm 40, to have someone who approaches me and asks me for help. And I'm showing her the way and telling her, we can get through this. This is how. And saving her from all this torture that I personally went through. Giving her the book is the best thing I could do for her. Yeah. So, yeah.
Maybe it's all the mistakes and the successes that you've all gone through in your life has been the reason why the book needed to be written.
Definitely.
Yeah. Ladies, this has been one of the most enjoyable interviews I've done. It's been an absolute hoot, as we say in Australia. It wasn't as bad as herding cats. It was actually quite a lot of fun. But I knew that if I was at the dining room table with all six of you, I wouldn't get a word in. So I would just have to sit there and drink a nice red and laugh. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your lives. I will put a link up to everyone that's listening in the show notes, so they'll know where to get the book off Amazon and all your contact details. Have a fantastic day. Be safe. And as we say at the end of every one of our podcasts, have a groovy day.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you.
Thank you.